people, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Senator Bernie Sanders, Eugene. This man is at the top of the list for a great reason. He is the leader of the progressive movement, carrying the torch from people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Reverend Jesse Jackson and others. He's our guy. I voted for him twice in the primaries, and very, very happy to see his smiling face there on the top of this list.
Yeah, I mean, you know, let's think back to what this guy did for the progressive movement in 2016, right? This was supposed to be a coronation of Hillary Clinton, and you know, in the 8 years of Obama, you know, things seemed great, but hadn't really gotten that much better. There were very incremental things that went better, and obviously he saved the economy, although the method in which he did so, you know, we would question. But nevertheless, he did stabilize the economy, and so, you know, Hillary was supposed to carry on, and Bernie Sanders, you know, at the time, for me, out of nowhere, he just came in and was like, no, I'm challenging Hillary Clinton. And, you know, that was kind of when my awakening happened politically. You know, all these things, Medicare for all, and $15 minimum wage, like all these different policies that, you know, kind of knew should be the case, but never had anybody say it out loud publicly, like he was saying. And I didn't know that he was even saying it years and years before. And that kind of like tells you about the kind of our political culture right now, you know, right, that you need a presidential election to be able to, and not even in the election itself, but a primary, to be able to get some of these points across.
Right. So the big idea that Bernie Sanders brought was the idea that we need a radical change of the way that we govern. When Obama ran for president in 2008, he ran on the idea of hope and change, and he really didn't deliver much change. He brought back status quo from the Clinton years, which was certainly an improvement over the horrendous, disastrous Bush years. But those of us, including myself, who voted for Barack Obama for my first presidential vote, were dissatisfied. And Bernie Sanders took on the incrementalism and the status quo of the establishment, trying to go for Hillary Clinton, which would basically have been a fifth Bill Clinton term if you go through the through line of Democratic Party politics. And he challenged it and brought to the forefront progressive ideas like Medicare for all and climate change policy, income inequality, wealth inequality, and also anti-war activism.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, because that was a huge part of his platform and a huge difference between the Bernie Sanders progressive movement and the Clinton, Obama Democratic Party establishment. The non-interventionism, well, we can talk about Israel, we can talk about all these other issues, but let's just stick with Bernie Sanders right now. And this is why he's at the top of this list today, and part of the motivating.
Top of this list? Well, how many more people do we have on this list?
How many more do we have on this list?
Yeah, we got tons. We got tons of people. So yeah, let's go on to our next guy here.
Okay.
So we got Ryan Grimm, who's a DC bureau chief at The Intercept, and I can almost guarantee most people, or I can guarantee you, Thomas, that most people have probably not heard of this guy.
I would agree with that. Definitely.
To me, I mean, this is sort of a glam photo of him, you know, being super serious and mugging for the camera. But to me, Ryan Grimm kind of just looks like your average guy. But man, can he speak with clarity. And he's got a lot of relationships. He's kind of like the spider in Game of Thrones. He just kind of hears everything, and then he will just kind of compile it in his brain, and it'll just come out in either a story or his podcast, which he took over Deconstructed at The Intercept from Mehdi Hassan. And he just explains these things and does these stories that you wouldn't normally hear from anyone. And he'll explain it in a way that'll just make sense to most people, I think. What do you think, Thomas?
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's his gift for getting to the bottom of things and being able to explain it to everyone else in a clear, concise way is it's fascinating. It's a real skill, and like you said, he has a lot of connections. He was formerly at the Huffington Post, where he did similar work, working in DC, and he's just he's got a real knack for getting to the bottom of issues that matter or should matter to everyone.
Yeah.
Really love his work.
Yeah, I would love to bring him on the show one day and just ask him like how he's able to do everything that he does, and then like how he chooses words in his brain. It just sounds like such a silly, stupid thing, but like I don't know, when I think of like how to make a presentation or how to write a paper, or how to like speak words, it doesn't always come out too good, and I like stutter a lot and like choose terrible words. And I like confuse people, but Ryan does not. Everything just seems to make sense. So, you know, definitely props to Ryan.
I also want to quickly shout out his book, We've Got People.
Oh, yes.
Which is amazing and is the most detailed book on the rise of AOC, and also providing a huge amount of context on the progressive movement going all the way back to Jesse Jackson, and how Bernie Sanders connects the old progressive movement of King and Jesse Jackson to the new progressives of AOC and the rest of the squad and Justice Democrats. It's a fantastic book. If you have not read it, you should definitely check it out. Ryan Grimm.
Definitely. And speaking of Jesse Jackson and AOC, we've got AOC next on our
Yay.
list. AOC, the representative, the New York's 14th congressional district. Is she the youngest congressperson?
She's youngest congresswoman. I do believe that a Republican man was just elected who is actually younger than her. This new Congress. But she's the youngest woman ever elected to Congress.
Gotcha. And at the time when she was elected, she was the youngest, right?
The youngest, correct, yeah.
You know, coming seemingly out of nowhere, although, you know, because we follow Sir Ryan Grimm, we knew ahead of time what was going on. But yeah, I mean, you know, we'll name our other favorite people later. We name people at TYT. They were also covering AOC.
Right.
But yeah, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, known as AOC, and will, you know, from now on be known as just AOC on this podcast, because I'm not, you know, it's her brand name now. Yep. Yeah, she's just amazing. You know, her story, her background it's very inspiring, and her work in Congress, her ability to grill these people during hearings. She's just a uniquely talented speaker in all ways.
Right. So I want to harp on that, because it's the kind of thing that we were told as progressives that we always needed. since King, we have needed a champion to deliver the progressive message forcefully and with clarity on the world stage. And she has emerged as the premier figure in this movement now, delivering a progressive message. And she does it so well. She's got so many people on the establishment side, center right, and the right wing, who love to hate on her, who cannot keep her name out of their mouths. They love putting her picture up and saying that she is the worst and horrible and all that, because she fights so hard for everyday, ordinary American people. Her story coming up as a waitress and a bartender, and being an organizer on Bernie Sanders' campaign for president, to running for office, to being chosen by the Justice Democrats and running for office to replace an entrenched, high-level Democratic establishment figure in Joe Crowley, who was in line to perhaps become a Speaker of the House one day, in a very powerful position in Congress, and to defeat him in a Democratic primary, just using hard work.
It's
impressive.
It's amazing. And by the way, like Justice Democrats went all in on her. They as an organization were spreading around their money at first, and when they were kind of realizing that they needed to get AOC into office, and that their model like kind of wasn't working. And these are all details you can read in Ryan Grimm's book, We've Got People.
Right.
He's gonna love us. He's got to come on our show.
I hope so.
Yeah, like that was such a big gamble at the time, because they were not really an established organization, and
not at all established.
And that she won, and overcame the odds and just got just enough votes. I mean, it's really just an incredible story. And so the story in itself is very impressive, but now the stuff that she's done in Congress,
right?
One of her first acts was to protest Nancy Pelosi.
Protest Nancy Pelosi outside of her office. That's right.
I mean, like, can you imagine? Like, most people, I think, kind of view Pelosi as like a champion of progressive rights. Is that even possible? We don't see that. But
it's difficult to believe, but yes, many Americans believe that Nancy Pelosi is some sort of firebrand progressive, which is obviously not the case.
Yeah, but most people don't know that, and for AOC to be there, to bring her story and her celebrity at the time to that, and to challenge Pelosi like that. I think at least, I mean, it probably put a target on her back in a very big way. People probably hated her for it, but also, kind of makes you ask the question, why did she do it? And is there something wrong with the current system? And I would definitely say that most of our right-wing friends and Republicans in the world probably hates Pelosi. And so in some way, the idea that Pelosi might not quite be doing what she's might not be doing the job she's supposed to be doing, finally getting through to the left-wing people in the world, that's an important thing to be alerted to.
Right. I just want to mention that it's an example of people hate Congress but love their own congresswoman. So Pelosi is beloved in DC Beltway. They love her. Media establishment loves Pelosi. They think she's a master legislator and tactician when it comes to policy. But the rest of us, including the Republicans in this case, we don't think Congress is doing a good job. We don't think that they've done enough for the people. And someone like AOC running against a powerful Democrat like Joe Crowley and winning is it's proof of that. It's proof that these establishment figures are not as popular as they would have you believe, as the media would have you believe, and that there's room for people to be fighters, to demand more than what we've gotten for the last 40 or 50 years out of our government. So
yeah,
just want to mention that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I mean that's AOC, and then let's move on to one of our next favorite people, who is working in the media, but I would say he's not part of the mainstream media. I don't know. Maybe he is at this point. We don't know. But one of our favorite journalists and commentators is not him, Mehdi Hasan. Mehdi Hasan is the host of the Mehdi Hasan Show on Peacock. Also was formerly hosting the podcast Deconstructed at The Intercept. Also hosted his own show on the Al Jazeera network, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And Mehdi is known for his, I guess, firebrand interview style. Is that how you describe it? Firebrand?
Aggressive, I would say. Yeah, firebrand is an interesting way to put it.
I don't know. I could be using the wrong word. Like I said, I am not great with words, but
no, he is a forceful interviewer. He asks great questions, penetrating questions, and he demands actual answers of his guests, which is something that you just don't normally see by anyone on television. And it's great to see for someone like this to get a show on even on Peacock to give great interviews and being able to book interesting, influential guests.
Right.
So.
I mean, you could say that he actually does his job, because you would think that holding politicians to account and making them answer your questions would be something that everybody does. But
you would be mistaken.
Yeah, I would definitely be mistaken, because they don't do that. And one of the big reasons why they don't do that is because they fear losing access to the inside. But Mehdi has never cared about that, and props to him. He has always held his interviewees to account and made them answer his questions. He'll repeat his questions over and over again until they answer it. And if they don't answer it, he will essentially hold them in contempt and, just assume an answer for them. So yeah,
well, again, part of the framing of the question is to demand an answer, in a way that if you don't answer, that is an answer.
Right, that is true. And so I mean,
there is
there is an art to what he does. And I remember he was talking in an interview how they would spend hours on really marquee interview subjects, just preparing and trying to think of what possible answers or non-answers that these interview subjects would give him, and then they would counter with a certain question framed in a certain way. They were essentially playing chess, but with words, in interviewing to try to do the best at getting at the truth. So yeah, I mean, Mehdi is great at what he does, and I'm super happy that he's got this show on Peacock, which is NBC's news streaming network / I mean, it's not only news, it's all sorts of shows now that you can just get on there.
Right.
But he's got his hour on there, and so far it doesn't seem like the quality of his show has taken any hits from being on the inside.
Which is encouraging for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have expected nothing different from Mehdi, but it is nice to see someone getting an opportunity on a major network and being the same,
right,
in terms of his style and the way that he asks his questions to his guests.
Because usually they just change into more establishment people, or they get fired, like Cenk.
Right.
And to be fair, Cenk did not get fired. He just got an offer that he needed to refuse. And
that's an important part of it, though, because whether you're firing a progressive or just kind of shunting them to the side, it's important that the message gets out, and that the people who are on television ask better questions and actually demand more of their guests, and not just kind of give in to the pressures from the corporations that own these massive media companies, because these about 5 corporations own all the major networks anyway. So we can get into that another time. But
yeah,
credit to Mehdi Hasan for continuing his good work on Peacock from The Intercept and Al Jazeera before.
Absolutely. I'm going to let you have the introduction for the next person. I know you love her very much, and I don't actually quite know as much of her, except for the occasional videos that I see. And I know I love her for what she says, but I don't know enough about her background. So,
okay,
who's our next person?
Okay, it is my honor to bring to our favorite people, Nina Turner. She is a professor from Ohio who was a Cleveland City Councilor and then an Ohio State Senator until 2014. She was a supporter of Bernie Sanders in his 2016 presidential campaign. And then she became the president of Sanders-affiliated Our Revolution group before becoming the co-chair, national co-chair of Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign. Now, Ms. Nina Turner, let me tell you, hello, somebody. If you have not heard of Nina Turner, please do yourself a favor and watch a video of this wonderful woman giving a speech.
I mean, she is a firebrand, right?
She is a firebrand. She is fiery. She is powerful, a strong Black woman with progressive policy ideas, and a champion of working people, Black people, poor people, just everything that you would hope for. And I look forward to seeing what she does next in her career. And I can't wait until the day that I'm voting for Nina Turner for something at a much, much higher level than Ohio State Senator. But this woman, she deserves to be on this list of our favorite people because she is perhaps the most powerful speaker on the progressive side that we have right now. And I would encourage anyone who's listening to look up Nina Turner and watch her give a speech. You gotta watch because she does a lot of movement. She's animated, fiery. It's not just about what she's saying, it's how she's saying it and to whom she's saying it and why she's saying it. She is a powerful figure, and I can't wait to see what she does next.
Yeah, and then she's often a guest on MSNBC, right?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes, yeah. So, I mean, there are places to see her on mainstream media, not just Twitter. But when she gets a chance to speak, you will feel like, Nina Turner's got your back for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's a short list of our favorite people. We've got tons more favorite people, but we just wanted to let you guys know, who we kind of believe are our favorite people, and the kind of people and stories we'll be covering on this show. So how are you feeling? How are you feeling about this podcast so far?
I'm okay. I feel pretty good about talking about positive people. It's now that we're into it, we've been going for a little while now. It's occurred to me that speaking about the best parts of what we see every day instead of always the worst makes me feel better. Go figure. Instead of putting up the number of coronavirus deaths or the latest Giuliani nonsense or 45 and his horribleness, speaking about the people out there doing the best job among all of us to bring the nation forward, to put forward new policies, and it makes me feel a lot better about where we are. To remind myself, to remind everyone that there are these folks out here, and many, many more, doing great work, who care about changing the way things are, real change, and I'm excited to keep talking about it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, we've got so many people and things that they've done that we can cover. I mean, people that you know, like Jon Stewart. I'm looking over our list here. We got Jon Stewart. We've got Liz Warren. We've got celebrities like Colin Kaepernick, Dave Chappelle, and then we've got lesser known people. Got some commentators. Some of our favorite people from the TYT network, Cenk, Anna, and John. Emma, who's moved on to the Majority Report with Sam Cedar.
Mm-hmm. Sam Cedar, also a wonderful progressive, and Michael Brooks was a co-host on the Majority Report, and now Emma Vigeland is a co-host on the Majority Report with Sam Cedar.
Which is amazing. We have to talk about Emma later, because Emma is one of my favorite people, as you know, Thomas. I met Emma on Doomsday back in 2016.
Election Day 2016.
Election Day 2016. I met Emma at a anti-Hillary protest, and we quickly realized we were in the wrong place. But that's a story for another day. Yeah, I mean, there are people, commentators, Chris Hayes. A lot of people probably don't know Chris Hayes, but he's doing a lot of good work. He's in a very interesting place on the inside. So I can't wait to cover all those people.